everybody! Happy Art Day! It's Monday for everybody else. For me, it's Art Day, and I hope for you as well. Today, I'm having a watercoloring or ink coloring mixed media kind of a project in my mind that I want to do. So let's hop right into it. I forgot to set my timer. Hold on, folks. So, timer set. I'm always setting my timer to maximum 2 hours so that I don't record videos that are longer than that, and maybe split the artwork throughout the weeks if needed. So, like I said, today I want to work with watercolor, ink coloring and colored pencil actually. So the project that I want to do or work on, it's gonna come back. This project, I'm definitely not gonna finish it, is this calendar that is an all year round calendar that you could use for maybe birthdays or recording anniversaries or whatever, that you can design on your own. So I thought, yeah, I would. And I'm going to fill a couple of these pages here, 4 to be exact, because I think I'm getting 4 pieces on one sheet of watercolor paper, but I have to write down the size that I would like to have for this. So I'm planning to paint on watercolor paper and then cut them into pieces and, well, glue them down in the end here. I don't want to color on this paper exactly because I don't know how it handles color, if there's warping or anything. Just not fond of not knowing, and since I want this calendar to, for one, look nice, second, live maybe longer than 1 year, I want this to be, well, of the best quality I can put together. A sip of coffee is a must. Ah, wow. So let's see what I can do here. The size that I can maximum work with is 17 by 15.5. So I think I want a centimeter left and right, so that would be 15 wide. Got to note that. So that's 15 wide by, how high do I want to go? If I go 15 by 15, that's rather crammed. So maybe 15 by 13.5. Yeah, that looks nice from here to here. Looks like about a centimeter. Yeah, 13.5. Let's do 13.5 centimeters. So that is recorded for later projects. Like I said, this is gonna come back later this year. I'm trying to have this done within 3 sessions, so 2 more than today, because I'm planning to have 4 paintings the day. The year has 12 months, so I would have to do that twice over and would have the calendar set, and then I only have to make the front piece and we're good. So before I show you the reference photos that I have already decided to take, because I've been busy between the years and I've been checking out, okay, what do I want to use, what paper, and not what paper, what reference photos, and what for what month, stuff like that. I'm a nerd, so I have to put my big old head into the camera for a second here, which is, am I filming straight? Oh, kinda. Whatever. Just have to have 15 centimeters marked. And then I'm going to make sure that I have a straight line, because this is always something that I struggle with. straight lines, either cutting them, drawing them, it's like blah, yeah, maybe not my forte, as they say, but I have help in form of a triangle, and this is a straight line. So that is the 15 centimeters. Now I need to divide those into 13 and a half. 13 and a half is here. So, same thing again. Do I have somewhat of a straight line? Oh, not too shitty. If you hear weird noises in the background once in a while, by the way, that would be my central heating calibrating. Because it's really cold outside and my heating in my studio is working its ass off. And it calibrates every so often to find out, is the room as warm as it's supposed to be, you know? I have a big studio with super high ceilings, so it really has to get to work. Anyway, marking the second 13 and a half centimeters. Let's see here. I'm not gonna cut them and glue them this time round, because what I like to do with the materials that I'm gonna use is let it dry overnight on the paper that I painted it. So this is glued on all four sides on this pad here. So I'm gonna just leave it as it is and cut it tomorrow. And you maybe see that in the taco clock vlog, but it's actually not that super interesting. You know how to cut papers, right? Well, there's the four pieces that I'm gonna work on. And now I can put the calendar away. I don't need that for now. I need to decide which reference photos I'm gonna work with. I'm not gonna take that because that's the title. By the way, these are royalty free and copyright free photos. They are from Paint My Photo. The only thing that I have to do and that I really like to do is upload the artwork on the page and not just use the photos, but upload what I do with it in form of photos to the what's it called? To the website. And there's an alarm going off somewhere. Okay. Do I want this? No. I'm looking for, well, what I like to do is I only like to work with a couple of colors every time. So what I'm trying to do now is find the photos that are quite similar in color. So yellow and purple, for example. Got 3 already. Do I have one more? Let's see. No, I don't, but this is closest to that. Okay, so let's take these. The others will go to sleep and will be painted in one of the next coloring painting sessions for that. I already decided what month they're gonna go in. So this is December, July, August, and February. So they're not too close together in the terms of every month there's a yellow and purple. No, it's not. So reference photos are decided on. Now the next step for me is to well, get painting. But before I can do that, let me show you what I'm gonna work with today. So for one, the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I do have a full set of those colored pencils that I love dearly. And I'm gonna work with them today in a style that I really like to do. Even more so recently. I like the style nonetheless, but I like it more, or even more recently. So I'm gonna work also with the Inktense blocks and the Inktense pencils. Now, you might ask, why would you go for both? Why do you need the pencils, or the pencils and the blocks in one sitting of doing artwork? Well, it's fairly simple. I'm not gonna have colored graphite or watercolor pencil here to sketch. I'm gonna use the Inktense. But on this paper especially, you can see here also it's pretty much the same paper. It can leave the scribbly lines, but it could also dissolve the pigment totally, depending on how much water you put there. So I don't want to flood my paper. And these scribbly lines are only there because, well, I did put down the pigment with a pencil. If I go in with the blocks, I'm not going to scribble with those. The blocks will never touch the paper. I will take these blocks, put them in this plastic tray here that I do have from board gaming. It's really good to have miniature board games like Star Wars Armada or X-Wing or stuff like that, because you get plastic trays that you could use as palettes or storage for, well, artwork. I like to put my blocks in these trays and then go in with the brush and liquefy the pigment and only then carry the pigment to the paper, so it looks more like this. So what I like to use the blocks for is maybe the more fuzzy background, and the pencils, I like to use those for the detail, the sketching out. I'm still gonna be rather loose with the way I paint the subjects, the objects or subjects, whatever you call it, on the paper. So see, especially on this photo, all the background here I would do with the blocks, and only this flower here and the bee I would do with the pencils, and only to a certain degree. And the final details, the final harsh lines that I will not liquefy, I won't have them done with the Inktense pencils, because they're so creamy that it's very difficult to have a very thin, straight, hard line there. But I'm gonna use the colored pencils for that. They're creamy too, but not as creamy as the Inktense pencils. So this is why I choose certain media. Now for the work, let's get those babies prepared. Put them aside. So I really like this box. It has those, oopsie daisy, those wooden pieces in here holding down with magnets, so you can store them in whatever way is suitable for you and nothing will fall out or break, which is awesome. And this is a full set as well. And I decided to take the full set for the Inktense in the blocks and the pencils because, well, you can see here I have all the colors and I just have to work with the numbers and have exactly the same pigment in whatever excuse me, in whatever way I like. So for the first one, what I also have to have, but that is for the blocks and also for the Paint My Photo information, I have to write down the exact numbers of the pencils that I have. So if you see me not paint but scribble in a while, sorry about that. But I want you to be able to read up on all the materials and not sit here with a notepad and try to get all the numbers of the pencils and stuff that I use to do the artwork. If you want to try this on your own or something, I'm having the blog post down for you. You don't need to worry. You can paint along, do something else along that's artsy, and yeah, don't have to worry about writing down information. So when I look at these photos, these are the closest in purple. Well, they're all pretty close, so I just have to have one certain purple tone. They will all go into those 3 paintings. These 2 are the closest for the color. This is way more brownish than these 2. These are way more yellow. And this one is a bit of an odd one out, so I'm gonna put that aside for now. While I choose the colors, I'm gonna have the reference photos next to me and try to figure out which colors I want. So I'll maybe take one of them with me and see what's the closest purple for the light one. This one, the 760, is nice for that. So let's grab that right away, the 760. There we go. I need a little bit of a darker one in the cold colors. So that would be the 800. And where is it? Here. And for this flower here, I need a bit of a pinkish red one. So to me, that would be a 710 or a 720. Let's go with a 710 and be really bold. 710, okay. Then the yellows for the sunflower, and so hold on, I have to write that down. July and February, they get the 710 and the 800. And what is this one? This is August. 710, 800, and oh, not 710. 760 is the one. Oh gosh. All right, so I have the purples. Now for the yellows, what do I go with for the yellows? Sunflower yellow. I'm definitely gonna go with the golden yellow, which is the 230 for the warm tones, and then maybe the 210. That's a cat yellow. That's not too shabby. Let's write that down for February. Again, I'm gonna have all the details done with the polychromos later. But I do need a middle section here. That would be an 1800 to me. And that actually takes the longest. Once I have my pencils and colors down that I want to use, it's actually fairly quick to sketch and just color, you know. So that is that. And then for the B, I'm gonna take, what am I gonna take? The 2010, and 1700. Okay, that is July. All right, for the greens, they're all fairly the same. This is a bit more yellowish green. This is less of a yellowish green. So for the greens, this one is super easy. That's a 1550. And a bit more of a yellowish. No, let's take the 1560 for that. And the 1540. 1540, that is July. 1540 and 1710. Is that the one? No. What did I grab? Oh, great. There was one in the wrong spot. Awesome. So not amused. There we go. 1550 is what I wanted. 1550 and 1540. Okay. So that painting is set. For this one I need a bit of a darker one. I'm gonna take the 1560 as well. But I need a darker tone. 1510 or 1520. 1520 it is. That's that one. And now this one. It gets the same tones, so the 15. Hold on. My green pencils aren't correct. Yeah, no, they are. They get the same as They get the 1550 for sure. $15.60 for the background. Because I'm not gonna take those parts here of the photo. I'm gonna include my own background. And the 1520 for the shading of the flower. Okay. Takes a long time, right? I'm sorry about that, but this is how it goes, folks. So for this one here, the greens are pretty much the same. So that's a 1520 and a 1550. For that tone, a 730 and a 750. 730, 750. And it's almost a little bit of yellow, but I could actually the 1560 here somewhere already. Yeah, this text the 1560. Okay, not too many different colors. All right. Now I'm gonna put this aside. I might have to grab one or the other pencil while I paint, but I don't count on that. So let's get sketching, folks. Finally, I'm gonna get to work. So let's start with the one that I had here. See the colors, 1520, 1550, and 1560. Okay. I really like, is that the correct one? Yeah. I really like to work with the Inktense. They work like watercolors, but they do work more like in, well, it's called Inktense. There, you cannot re-liquefy them once you are having the pigment liquefied. So they're permanent, which I like a lot when you want to layer. So for example, you can layer these like maybe, what's a good thing, like colored pencil or like acrylics. You're not really lifting the layers underneath, but, and they're also, like you can see here, they're quite controllable. And you can work rather fast with those. I'm just, can you see? Yeah, I'm just looking at the reference photo next to me and blocking in the major parts. Like I said, this is pretty much just in quotation marks, the underpainting. I'm gonna have details with the polychromos on top later, but I don't want this to look how do you call it, too unfinished. It's just you could actually call the underpainting the loose work, and what's on top, that's the, if I wouldn't work in a loose way, you know. There's especially in Germany, like at least that's where I know that from. In the beginning of the year or end of December, when you go to a pharmacy, you get those calendars with the watercolor paintings, and they're usually animals or plants, and they have a certain loose style. And this is pretty much what I'm doing here, but more in a controlled way because I'm using the pencils. And once I have that down, I will liquefy this and let it dry. Maybe have a bit more shading going on if I need to. Usually I don't, actually. And then I go in with the polychromo pencils and add any detail that I want on top. So I'm just putting down pigment here. I could use the blocks for that actually, but I like to control which color goes where in a dry state with my main objects. For the background, I don't care. This is the yeah whatever kind of a moment then, but for my main objects I like to know, okay, this is where the pigment is at, and I'm not gonna go any further than there. So this is here, there's another one down here. And again, this is, I hate to say it, but just a reference photo. So I have artistic license to do with it whatever I want, take just bits and pieces of it that I want to paint and not the whole thing. I could, like I'm going to do, get rid of that stem here and enlarge the flower blossom petal part. But, excuse me, that is only when you have copyrights and artistic license given to you with the reference photo. So yeah, now I'm getting to the greens. Purples are done. Maybe I have to add a tiny bit more the green here just to make itself known. And then 1550 is this one. Yeah, just gonna sketch in the stems, leaves, and all the things in the background. I'm gonna take quite a bit away of that by having the background blurry. So this is dark leaf here that is getting lighter. Actually, no, not this one, this one. This gets lighter here, this gets lighter here. Maybe a bit more leaves here. There's one there. And do I need anything else? Do I have this, this? Oh, maybe this leaf here from the side. This one there. Just pull it in. That's that. So that would be number one already, which I'm going to liquefy right away so that it can dry while I paint the next piece, and then I can come back and do the background with the blocks. So when I do assembly line work like that, I do like to work in steps in a way that I don't have to use my blow dryer all the time. So I'm working in this case with two of these water tank brushes, a bigger one, and they're fairly used. I have to buy new ones soonish, and one thinner one. And for the foreground, I like to start with the thinner one. And in this case, the green tone, because it stains less than the purple. Purples and reds do stain the brush quite a bit. So I'm trying to have that pigment liquefied, maybe in a minute only. Okay. I'm quite saturating the paper here. I'm not squeezing the brush, so I still control where things go, but I'm quite controlling with a lot of water where things go. And before, can you see that? No, because I have it. Hold on, folks. Let me move things a tiny bit. Now I got a shadow there. Hold on. Shadow away. I'm so good. So between parts, even if I use the same pencils, I'm having my brush cleaned on my paper towel just to make sure I don't pick any pigment up that I don't want. go in for the green here. Challenge here is not to have it mix too much with the purple. So I really have to look, where did I put what pigment down, which is kind of difficult sometimes with the Inktense, because the non-liquefied pigment sometimes looks quite similar, so you don't know, is that a brown or a blue I put down there, or where am I? So if that is too scary for you, or you just want to make sure that you only hit the pigment that you're supposed to be hitting with the brush, one thing you could do is use one color, one pencil at a time, liquefy it right away, and then go to the next pencil and use that pigment. This is what I sometimes do in coloring books when I color tiny little fizzly things that are maybe difficult to distinguish. I go one pencil at a time, all the orange things, and then liquefy, all the brown things, and then liquefy. So the greenies are done, and now I can go to the purple. Now this is the wet. This is medium wet, and this is wet, medium wet, driest. So I'm starting here just to prevent the pigment from bleeding into each other too much. Because again, purple and red stains, and they are not easily moved. Not as easy as the earth colors like light ochre or sepia brown, things like that. They're way easier to move. Now this one here. You can see here that I did not color the whole flower solid, but I left white spots like these here. This is where I pull the pigment into. So I do have color intensity variation going on, which is almost like a natural shadow already. It's not a complete shadow, not yet, but it's getting there. And I can use that later on once I go in with the colored pencils to work with the differences of intensity of the Inktense to decide, okay, where do I put my shadows? Because some details are of course lost, like the exact place of the separation, like where's one petal, where's the other. So I have a lot of shadow here indicating, oh, there's the border between the two petals. Same here. For one, that is the reason why I put down darker pigment onto the significant borders that I want to have stand out when I have my pigment liquefied. But I also don't pull that pigment a lot, so I'm not pulling that in now. I'm pulling from the middle. And let that border sit there for a while before I move the pigment. It's just tiny tricks like that that make it fairly easy to use this medium and get fairly decent results in the first or second try already. And you can go from there and see where you want to change things up, where you maybe want to add another medium so that things are just easier for you, or get a certain field to them. For me, that is putting colored pencils on top for the very dark details. So yeah, this is my way of learning a new medium. This is how I tackled the Inktense. And I really like to try them only second in a coloring book. People like to use coloring books for trying new media. I do that too, but I like to use them on a scrap piece of paper first. Usually I make a color swatch here. That's the first thing that I do with the medium, and then do one little piece and then take them to the coloring books and really put them to a test and see, okay, how do they handle? If I've never experienced a medium anything like that before. So yeah, so there's the base done, cleaning the brush. Now I can do this second piece already, but I need a sip of coffee. Now, since I'm left-handed, I will work here now and then there, just to make sure I don't smudge things. I'm just gonna take the next piece on top, which is the sunflowers. That is August, and I need the following pencils. Good thing that I wrote them down. Nope, don't need those. Do I need any of these? Yes. 1560 for the background only, so I don't need that for now. 1550, I need those. Probably need the yellows. And that one. Alright, got all my pencils together that I need for this piece. So with this one here, I said I'm going to cut out things. Not going to use that background, for example. I just am interested in this flower, these flowers, and maybe the yellow below. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with that center of the sunflower and put it where it needs to go. I'm doing the same thing like I did before. Sketching out where things need to go, and I can have a bit of an open space here to pull the color in. I don't need the baked brown anymore. Need the yellow though. This is where the loosey-goosey comes in, the looseness. Just putting in a few lines, not every petal. That's not what I use the Inktense for. I'm gonna use them only for the underpainting, like I said, and have the polychromos be the pencils dedicated for detail. So I'm just gonna put in some pigment here, tiny bit, and the darker yellow for the surrounding parts here. Righto. And I can go already with the stem. Again, I'm being rather loose, and this might look scary, but don't worry. Okay, need a leaf here. Taking the darker green now and adding. Again, not going everywhere with the pigment, just a few places that I want to have stand out. Now, deep violet, the other one. Now the purple comes in. Okay, I can have one of them here. I'm just outlining the purple flowers now. I'm not gonna fill anything in yet because I need to have enough space to put in the rose color and stuff like that. Just outlining. Then there's one right here. And one right behind it. Now I can put in the rose color. So there, there we don't see any. We see some here and here. And then we see them like this. Same goes here. Okay, don't need that pencil anymore. The lighter tone, giving it a bit of color, not too much. I need space for the darker purple on the outer lines. Okay, now I can fill in the last flower and fill the rest with green shrubbery like I need. So there is again, I know this doesn't look like much, but it will. Right, and now for the green parts. Just fill in the little stems and leaves and such. what I like about these kind of paintings is it forces you to sometimes work rather loose and sketchy almost, but still have the line work be true to what you're painting there. You know, it's not that you can just scribble and be done with it, but it's see, apply, and then, well, be artistic with it. See the things quickly and have only those major lines on the paper or canvas or whatever. It's actually a really cool exercise to have these paintings done or the sketches done within 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how big you work. The smaller you work, the less time to grant for yourself there. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice exercise to learn how to see the essentials in a reference photo of any kind, what you wanna draw or paint. So yeah, I just really like it. And I'm going about it here like I did with the painting above, the December painting, liquefying bit by bit by bit, making sure I don't have too much of stuff bleeding into each other. There's a tiny little bleed, I don't care, but not the big ones. I'm not fond of those. This is also one thing that I personally like to do when I have huge projects. I like to cut them up in chunks, not to be overwhelmed by them. So, for example, this calendar that I showed you earlier, it came in the art box in December. So I had the idea pretty much right away, oh, I could do the calendar for next Christmas, for our landlords. When I did the unboxing in the Talk O'Clock video, you could see that. That I had the idea pretty much right away. So I put that aside, made a mental note, and then talked to my husband. He said, yeah, that would be totally cool. And we went from there. Next thing that I did, I went to paint my photo, where I'm a member, and did check for reference photos that I wanted to use. And I just looked on the interweb, learning about certain flowers that are in association for certain months, or I thought about what do I do in my balcony garden at that time? Is it time to plant? Is it time to harvest? Things like that. So our landlords have the garden below, like they live underneath our apartment. So they have the ground floor with a lovely huge garden with lovely plants and everything. And I just, also looked, okay, what plants do they have? What do they seem to like? And combined all of those information and ideas into my search for photos, reference photos, and paint my photo. Took the ones that I wanted, printed them out, and put them in the folder. And then I did let them sit for a couple of months, weeks, not working on that project at all. So I give things like that time to breathe. And I thought, okay, it looks like I can put 4 paintings on one of my watercolor pads. that I do have. Okay, so let's see, how often do I have to work on this project to get it done in time without being well, stressed out or not having time to do anything else? When do I have to start? Things like that. And then it was very easy just to say, okay, so it's 3 sessions, maybe one more to finalize the calendar. I can do that on the art day. And that's that. This is how I approach these big projects, not to get stressed out or lose interest throughout the year in doing them. And while I told you that ta-da, it's liquefied. Now on to the next part. I'm gonna go with the crocus, which is actually the flower that gives us that lovely spice called saffron. It's the stems in there. February 760, 730. Okay, so they're pretty much the same. I just gotta find my pencils again. 210, 230, and then I can paint those. They're a typical spring flower in our area. 730, 60, I mean, and 720. That would be you. Nope, it would be you. All right. Again, looking at the essence of the photo, what do I want? I want the yellow in front, purple in the back. So these are just loose shapes that I'm gonna put in here now. And with this particular piece, I will show you one thing that I do when I'm layering, like I said earlier. So see, for example, there's grass in front of these flower petals, so I gotta wait and layer there. Otherwise, I cannot have them in the same go. They would probably bleed, those colors. All right, these are the yellow ones that I want. Just going to put a bit of a darker pigment down, only slightly enhancing the petal shapes there, but on the back one here need a tiny bit more yellow, just a tiny bit. All right, so the yellows are done, and now I need to put down the purple, the light one first. Oh, I need the dark orange for that as well. So I like to have things come out of the frame or cut into the frame, so there's no flower here, but I'm just gonna move that one a slight bit to the left and have another one be next to it pretty much. So the purple I learned here is rather intense, so I don't have to use a lot of pigment there. tiny bit. Can pull in the stems with the darker one. Have another one with the lighter back here. One here. It's gonna be rather, well, not as defined. Alright, and now I need a bit more yellow on this one here and that one there. Alright, so I don't need the greens yet. Gonna come back to them in a minute. But now I can liquefy. Let's go with the yellows first. Really have to be careful here because yellow and purple are complementary colors. They're opposite each other on the color wheel. And if I'd mix them, I get a muddy color, so a gray or a brown, which I do not necessarily want here. Just being careful. All right. This is to work at in a minute. So in between that, I'm going to work at the other. No, those. Really have to put the pencils aside. They're mixing. All right, let's sketch the last one. So with this one, I'm gonna start with a B because I need to have her be in be the focus, and I can adjust the height of the flower, but I hardly can adjust the size of the bee on top. So there's that part. I can barely see the wing here, so I'm just roughly gonna outline it and not think about it even further. But here's the mustard. Now I need the black again for the leg. And then there's the bottom of the bee. It's a bit more brownish fluffy here. It's probably gonna mix. The yellow goes something like this. Need one more leg here. And then we already can go to the head. Big leg here. And that's that. Intensifying the yellow tone a bit. And now have the bee look less awkward because we have purple all around her. Especially here. Let's outline them a tiny bit with the darker purple. And again, this is, like I said, this is actually super fast. It takes the longest to choose the colors that you need. For example, need one flower to extend over here. Now I'm just sketching those 5 petal flowers in. I'm not being exact right now. Don't have to be. Again, this is the under painting. And I do have enough pigment already on the paper that I don't even have to paint or color every petal here. Just need a bit of pigment put down. And by liquefying that, it's a closed one, for example. By liquefying the petal the pigment in a minute, I'm gonna be fine with that. So here's another one. So I'm gonna have darker pigments down here that are in petal shape, only on the outside. Some birds, and then here's another partial flower petal, and the rest in between here goes with the dark pigment. I can liquefy that quickly and then come back to the upper part and do the rest of the crocus. So let's get the wings right. And I do like this brownish black here, this sepia ink, for that kind of work. Really pulling in the pigment here. Be careful a bit because I want the legs to stand out, so I'm just gonna go around the legs for now. Do the fuzzy liquefying. Same goes for the eyes and the antenna on the head. Gonna get to those in a second, because I don't want to lose that shape. So you're here, you are here, and you are here. Now I can go to the yellow, fluff that up. Really like the mustard tone, but yellow and oranges, earth tones are my favorite colors pretty much, other than indigo, which is a yellowish blue. So I seem to like yellow, orange, earth tones. And I really like that mustard tone. So now I'm just bravely liquefying the purple. Going for what's in the background first. This is background. This is. Now let's take care of the flower shapes a bit more. And I'm gonna set those petals apart with the polychromos later. But looking at the time, it might be that I will not be able to finish that today. So I only have 45 minutes left. And this part here actually is the faster part. So if I'm not able to finish it, you have to watch out for the taco clock this week, because the rest of the footage will be then on the taco clock. Okay, let that dry. Get back to the upper painting. So I'm gonna bring in the darker ones that I want to stand out first and do the other things later. So I'm going in with a Hooker's green. And I'm just going to do that. And now come in with the lighter green. And fill in the rest. Now I'm gonna liquefy the dark green lines here first. Wait for a second till they're dry and then liquefy the light green, because then again these are permanent and I cannot screw them up by reliquefying pigment that I actually don't want to reliquefy, you know. Just have to wait a second there, or I'm gonna give it a quick blast. Should already be enough. Now I go in with the thicker brush, with the other one that I showed you earlier, and I'm going in circular motion to dab in the light green or liquefy that. You can see I'm not losing the detail that I had with the dark green, because that is pretty much dry. Okay, that's enough already. And now I can take care of the background. So now I bring in the blocks. So I'm going to put aside the pencils. Need that. I need mostly green and blue, sky and everything, but let's do green first. 1560 was it? 1560? Yeah, 1560, I need you. That's that one. Need a tad darker. 1540. Then I need the indigo, maybe. Where's indigo? Yeah. Need the indigo. That is 11. There we go. And then I need a sky blue that is not too intense. Let's go with 900. All right. So what I do with the blocks is to be able to read them later. I'm never starting to pull up a pigment from the side that has the numbers on it, but the opposite side. So now I need my brush. I'm going to start with the December Crust Rose again. So there I need the greens and the indigo. So that was, oh god damn it, there we go, the 1111 block. And do I have the other two colors already? 1560. And I don't think I have the 1540. Okay, write that down. Da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee. Okay, let's get going. Can you see what I'm doing? No, you're not. So I'm just going around here. A lot of water. And liquefy. Again, I want a lot of water with this. Want to cover a bigger area, but I also want to be precise around my focal points, so I'm not going to use the bigger brush here. I have to work pretty fast with the blocks, because once I have the pigment down, I cannot reliquefy it and pull it. So if I leave harsh lines, they will be there. So I have to move the pigment fast to get where I need to go. All right. Now I bring in the darker green. By controlling how much of that pigment I actually have on my brush, I can make it work even with a darker color, but with more light, more water in that regard. I can control where the light comes from. Like I said, even with darker colors, just have to be careful not to smudge anything. So you go here, and then you go usually I would work with white space with paintings like these, but since I'm having a white border around the painting on the calendar, I'm not gonna work with white space here, but color the whole shebang. Have a solidly colored mini painting there. All right, now a tiny bit of indigo for the darkest. So I like to combine green and blue, or shade green with blue pretty much. Just dabbing that in here and there. Not too much though, otherwise it's too busy, but for the bottom part here. All right. Oh, need more indigo there. Need to pull it up a bit. There we go. Okay, that one is done. Next one is August 1560 for the background. Okay, 1560, are you here already? Yeah, there you are. So that gets a 1560 background and a bit of indigo for me, so just gotta note that. I'm gonna bring in the bigger brush and do the same thing that I also did in the upper part of the painting. That is why I like to work with those water tanks for these kinds of media, because I always have enough water. I don't have to spend time to get new water in the water bucket and, you know, get cracking there. With the inkware, I really have to work fast. I always have enough water in my brush so that I can pull the pigment where it needs to go. I don't have to be careful here because the whole background here will pretty much be the same color. So I can pull that in and have two paintings done in one. See, this is all I really have to work because bringing in indigo already because I picked up a little bit of purple on accident there. Thought I had all the pigment liquefied. Obviously not. Same here. Purple is really vicious. So let's bring in the indigo and help out there. The darker parts, some shading. Okay. Now, big, I need a purple, the 760, that one, which is the lighter of the purples. Because there was one flower there in the background that was, out of focus, that one there. But here first I need a lot of water and green to get going here and have that background colored. I'm not sure yet. I think with the purple I'm gonna bring in the indigo, but not with the green. Maybe. That's something that I always decide on the fly, where if I shade something already in the background loosely, when am I gonna bring that pigment in? And since I like purple, no, not purple, indigo as one of my shading colors, I have to decide where I want to put that in. So a lot of water, only one pigment go. Yeah, maybe I want the indigo with the purple here. Yeah, I do. I do, folks, I do. Bring that in. Because I'm not gonna put pencil in this part. Again, this is the background. This is supposed to be out of focus and everything. So if I'd bring in the pencil there, it would defy the purpose. But I need a bit more green. A tiny bit more purple for underneath here, because there's another flower like that. Now I'm gonna dab it away quite a bit because this is very intense color. Take a lot of water and the green. A lot of water. And counteract that with a tiny bit more. Okay. Got that. Now I just need the background for the crocus flowers and I'm good. So we are in February. I'm definitely gonna say that is P plus B, meaning the green is there in block and in pencil. Just can do a bit better texture there. And since I'm just glancing at the clock right next to me, I'm definitely not gonna work with pencils on top today. And since I can't even start with that, I think I'm gonna have next week to have part 2 coming back with the colored pencils then. And have this be a second parter. Oh, that's a lot of, hold on, I need to pull the pigment quite a bit. The indigo is heavy. Didn't want this to be so heavy. I'm using the indigo also to pull the stems of the crocus and make them dark. Okay. Now I'm gonna turn this paper because it will be easier for me to work on the sky. So for February I also have the 900 block, which is the sky color. I'm gonna have those blocks sit in my plastic tray for quite a while until I put them back, because I only put them back once they're dry. So that's more water, more pigment. Get that done. out and see. Yep, sky is okay. So that's that. Now I can let this dry, and next week I'm gonna come back with the Polychromos color pencils and I'm gonna finish this painting with you. I'm not gonna have the blog post up. Oh, am I? No, I'm not. Once this is done, I'm gonna have the blog post up. So this week there won't be a blog post, but since I wrote down all of the numbers of the Inktense that I used, I can already, well, note that for the ArtDay video, and I'm gonna add the colored pencils and then have a big blog post about these pieces, but that will happen next time. I hope you enjoyed watching along nonetheless, though this is not finished yet. I hope you can see where I'm going with it. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, as per usual. Also, if you're new to the channel, I would love for you to subscribe and be a new member in the ArtDay community. I have lots of other art videos throughout the week as well, and on the weekends there's the weekly vlog, Talk O'Clock, and a board game video podcast with my husband, the Gamers Couch, on Sundays. So I do have different kinds of things to keep you entertained, informed, and maybe giggling once in a while. And I'm gonna be back next Monday on this show. Have a lovely day. Do all the good other YouTube stuff, like I said, like and share and stuff. Be kind, be lovely, as per usual. And do something nice today for yourself. Maybe you got some time to create something, or, well, do other things that you really like to do. So take good care, have fun. I'm gonna see you next time. Bye bye.